Hey John, lovely to see you. Quite a rare breed here at Superbooth, a plugin developer, but tell us what you got.
Yeah, so this is Strokes. Strokes is the first VST that I've released. It's a cross-platform, all-in-one sequencing workstation, Groovebox. So you have like samplers, synthesizers. The idea is to encourage like exploring rhythm and modulation. So I'll get the simple stuff out of the way first. We've got an 8-part multi-timbral synth and sampler engine here. We've got 8 voices. Each voice can be a sampler or one of the 16 built-in synth engines. Those synth engines have been ported from Mutable Instruments Plus, so they sound really, really good and they respond really, really well to modulation. That's key because if you flip over to the sequencer page, we've got an 8-track sequencer that's sending out rhythmic data and modulation data. They're all kind of interlinked and they overlap. Each sequencer lane has its own playhead, so it can run at different rates, it can run forwards, it can run backwards, or palindromically. If you take a look at how at this row of sequencers here, so this is following the movement of the bass drum pattern here, and if I increase the modulation amount to the pitch, you'll see that this is now sequencing the pitch of our bass drum. And this applies to all different sound modulation sources and sound design parameters. Any modulation source can be connected to any sound design parameter. So it's fully modular in that sense. It's like a modular Groovebox.
So is this running as a VST or is it a max MSP?
So this is a VST3 and an audio unit. On iOS it runs as a standalone application or as an AUV3 inside a host like AUM. The VST is multi-out. So you can see we actually have like independent audio channels for each of the voices.
Wow, nice.
So yeah, it's a VST3 audio unit. It's available on Windows and Mac. It's £35, about €40. On iOS it's a bit cheaper, like 20 quid, 25 euros. So yeah, that's Strokes.
Nice. Did you say you had something else as well?
Yeah, so the other thing that I got to show here is Dispatch. Dispatch is a modulation matrix for Ableton Live. If you make music available in Live and you're in a situation where you've got LFOs scattered around your project, Dispatch is kind of a way of bringing all that modulation into one place.
Right.
One of the limitations with Live is that
clock as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of the limitations with Live is that when you assign an LFO to a parameter, that's it. You've got one LFO on that parameter. Dispatch lets you stack modulators on top of each other. So here on this first modulation bus, if I increase the amount, you see we've got this sine wave, and then I can increase the pulse blend, and now we've mixed together a pulse wave and a sine wave.
Lovely,
and we can map
lovely graphic there.
Yeah, we can map that to any parameter in Live. There's a ton of different modulation stuff built in. So we've got ring, which is 2 sine waves in a ring modulation configuration. There's pulse, which is standard like pulse on and off generator. There's slope, which is like a triangle generator. External input, so you can route other Macs and Ableton devices in. There's a Euclidean Rhythm Generator, audio input and CV input, so you can take a Eurorack LFO and patch that in. There's a quadrature LFO as well, which is kind of complicated to explain. And there's also, if you're running the Strokes VST, you also get all of the Strokes modulation signals available in there as well. The other stuff this does, so you can use the audio and CV outs to send signals directly out to hardware. So you've got like an expert sleepers module, you can patch your Ableton LFOs.
Right, so you get access to DC, something DC coupled, yeah, right.
Dispatch is kind of like the crossing point. You know, you can patch your LFOs in from Eurorack and you can send them out. You've also got MIDI generator as well. It takes a MIDI input and a MIDI output. The MIDI input's used for like sample and hold. You can do that on the external input. And you can also generate MIDI by setting a threshold for each of the outputs. And basically when the signal passes that point, you get a MIDI trigger. So you can use it as like
Swiss
a drum
Army
machine.
knife as well, yeah.
Exactly,
yeah.
Generate
all sorts of stuff, yeah.
A ton of different function generators and a modulation mixer. And yeah, it kind of solves a few problems available in Live in terms of stacking modulation and things.
So this is a Max for Live
so
device,
Dispatch
right?
is Max for Live only, but available on Windows and Mac. Strokes is a VST3 and audio unit, and an AUV3 and a standalone application on iOS.
What's Dispatch cost?
25 quid, so
right,
about 30 euros.
And where can people buy this stuff?
So from our website, congburn.co.uk/strokes/dispatch. Yeah, they're available now. iOS you have to grab on the App Store. And there's a bundle if you want both. Just get in touch and I can sort out a bundle. Discount price.
Thanks very much.
Amazing. Cheers, Dick.